Hello, dear viewers. Welcome back to the live stream. I'm John. This is Brandon.
Hi, guys.
We'd love to hear who you are. If you're in there listening, we appreciate you guys putting in the work on your Monday to practice your English. I know it will pay off. I had the pleasure of meeting some of you guys over the weekend, and I have brought back Hope by popular request. Hope is going to help us talk about printing homes today. She has brought her 3D printed toy model here, and you know a lot about houses and building blocks. So our subject today is 3D printed homes.
Yes.
When we say something is 3D or 4D, what does that D stand for, kid? What does the D in 3D stand for?
It's talking about the dimensions, right?
Yeah.
So there's 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, and then we even have 4D, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
And a dimension is typically on a grid for mathematics. You'll see like a horizontal and a vertical dimension, but 3D actually has like a shape there. So most printing so far has been 2D ever since a guy named Gutenberg invented the printing press. Printing has actually been around a lot longer, especially in China. There have been printing methods for a long time. But 3D printing takes what's called a cartridge of a material. You think about like an ink cartridge, right? You need ink, and that puts the ink on the paper. 3D printers use different materials, and they print them out into 3D objects. Let's go to our question today. And that question is, how do you think 3D printing will change the future? It's still kind of a new technology, right?
It is new. We have talked about it before, but it is quite new. And we talk about how it's used in different ways, which is quite fascinating, that they could actually build a house using a 3D printer.
Yeah, I remember when I first really started thinking about 3D printing, there was a friend who said, you need to invest in 3D printing because it's going to change the future. And he was right. The 3D industry is huge. People are printing everything from toys to rocket ships, now to houses. So our article today, which you need to read May 8th and 9th, is called The Amazing 3D Printed Home. If you haven't yet, grab a copy of our advanced magazine. That is how chocolate is made on the front.
So that's the cover.
That's a really fun article about a Hawaiian chocolate farm. But these houses are being 3D printed to save costs.
Yeah, which that's a really special part of it, right? If it doesn't save cost or speed things up, then why use it? So it is really beneficial. I think, of course, maybe people have questions about quality and that sort of thing, and so it needs to check off those boxes as well. Yeah. And but it's been around for a bit, so I'm sure they've gone through a lot of safety checks. And I like the idea, John, that you can build a house at a faster pace, right?
That's right. So I worked in construction, actually, for a number of years, off and on. And construction takes a long time because so many different people have to work on different layers, kind of inside out. But 3D printing enables a robot to put in a lot of those layers. Most houses are made from some kind of a frame, like the skeleton of the house, called the frame. And then after the framers put the frame in, then carpenters will build out the walls or put in stones. But if a robot can do it, well, it could save a lot of costs, especially when we're talking about labor costs. Labor costs, as you probably already know, are what you pay people. And especially in the United States, a lot of construction is done through unions, U-N-I-O-N-S. You probably know about unions already, but because most construction workers are union workers, labor costs are actually really, really high, not just because of the materials, but also because of the people you need to pay who are in unions. So a lot of times people are being paid hundreds of dollars an hour to use machinery, and if you can have a robot just print it, you could save costs. So it is a technology that will change a lot of industries. But what do you think? We also have a comment here.
Yeah, absolutely. We hear from, I can't say your name. Thank you. Thank you very much. And you're talking about customizing products is not expensive anymore. And yes, technology has advanced so much that the cost variable isn't as much of a concern. Good point. And 3D also decreases the invention cost. Thank you for speaking to that issue. And Alan says it is still challenging now, but can be a speedy way to build houses in areas where land is spacious. Thank you, Alan, for commenting on that. And so a couple of thoughts. What are the rest of you thinking? Let us know. Maybe you have some input about 3D houses.
And while we talk about this, let's go to our poll, because Alan, you make a really good comment, especially here in Taiwan. But our poll question for today is, which kind of home is your favorite? If you had to 3D print a home, would you print an apartment, a house, like a regular standalone house, a recreational vehicle? This is a different style of living. You live in a car or a boat. Or finally, a tiny home. Tiny homes are sort of a new phenomenon. We've talked about them on the show before.
Yeah, we have. We talked about them being built for homeless people and other people as well. And it's a phenomenon. You'll see it in the U.S. They're really nice homes, but they're just small.
That's right. So let's go back to Alan's comment. That word, great use of the word spacious. We get the word from the word space, if there is a lot of space. And in Taiwan, as beautiful and as big as our island is, it is not a spacious place to build homes, is it? Space is very limited, especially in cities.
Yes.
And so you can't just 3D print whatever home you want and just put it in the middle of property.
Right.
Like you still can in some areas of the States, though. Even in most areas of the States, land prices are going up as there are more people. But finding the land is a big deal, and that is what makes housing so expensive. Right?
It is absolutely expensive, so if there's some technology that can help lower the prices, that's great. John, I love that you put recreational vehicles. We often call those RVs.
Yeah.
When I was very little, my parents had an RV, one that you could drive around, and so we would go in the mountains and that sort of thing, and you could stay in that. That would be really cool to have, like cars, built by 3D printers, and I would hope it would lower the cost, because cars are getting really expensive. Like a brand new car is super expensive.
Yeah, so some 3D printers can actually print metal pieces, and that's a big deal. Like I mentioned before, there is a company that is printing rocket parts with a metal 3D printer. It's incredibly time-consuming. It takes a long time, but the idea is that you can get a high-quality piece of metal in one piece. Press say. True, we live in apartments in most of the city, right? So it's just hard to find spaces to experiment with new kinds of housing. And then Alan, you said, I'd like to print customized furniture to adjust the size to fit the room. That's actually a really, really good idea, because sometimes you get a piece of furniture and it's the one you want, but if you could just get it like 2 inches shorter, and that's actually, I think that's a brilliant idea. Alan, maybe some of our viewers out there can do that. But I think if you like Alan's comment, please say, I like it. I would buy some. I have often found a piece of furniture that if it was just like 2 inches bigger or shorter, it would fit perfectly, but it doesn't work. What do you think of that idea?
I think that's a great idea, Alan. It makes a lot of sense, because like you want to customize like for where you live, right? And like you said, you have this problem, like it almost fits, but it doesn't quite. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
What would I use a 3D printer for? Maybe I would like print a house. No.
Yeah, actually, Luna, hi Luna. Luna, you say, I think it can start from small objects like pet houses.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. Just start smaller. We could get a house for Hope, and as she gets bigger, we could just 3D print you new shoes.
Yeah.
Love that idea.
For everything. Or maybe you could like print robots to help you out with stuff around the house.
Or how about this? A 3D printer that prints 3D printers.
And you can market it.
Future, guys.
You can market it. Okay.
Well, we'd love to hear more of your ideas, and a lot of these ideas are becoming a reality. If you could have a 3D printer in your house that 3D printed any one thing, what would you have it 3D print? Anything.
Like food? Can it?
Yeah.
Can that
was my thought too. It could 3D print. But what kind of food?
You just program it, like all different kinds of food. Like, you want pizza tonight, you want steak tomorrow night, like you just program it or whatever, and it does it.
What kind of food would you want it to print? Baby food?
Baby food, yeah.
All kinds of food. How about, in some ways a coffee machine is that already. It kind of 3D prints coffee right into your cup.
Yeah.
I don't know if it counts if it's a liquid.
Okay.
All right, friends. Well, thank you for talking with us about 3D printing. come in next week. If you ever have topics you want us to talk about too that aren't in the magazine, and maybe you're in an industry and you really, really want us to talk about like semiconductors again or something like that, hey, we're here for you. We're your teachers, and we are here to serve you and help you learn better English. So just leave a comment after we post the live stream online. If you like Hope's bow, also just say, I like her bow. We appreciate you guys, and we pray for you. We hope your English is improving this week.
Well, guys, thanks for joining us. And before we go, we have another comment talking about 3D printers.
Yes.
A truck house would be good. I can live in southern Taiwan in the cold winter. So you can print a vehicle, I think is what you're saying, right? And then you can go on vacation, you can enjoy the southern part of Taiwan in the wintertime. That is a perfect idea. And if you're able to do that, let us know.
And another live stream, I'll have to share the time that I actually lived in an RV for 6 months. It was a real big adventure. We don't have time to talk about it today, but the pros and cons of that experience is an interesting story for another time. A lot of people do that in California.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, friends. Well, we love you guys, and we hope your English continues to improve. Go 3D print something. If you have a 3D printer, let us know. I don't have one yet.
I don't either.
Just a normal one.
But if you do, let us know.
She wishes she had a 3D printer.
See you guys next Monday. Thanks for joining us. Bye.